Are you posting and posting on social media or sending email upon email but not getting the conversion that you need? We've got you. We've created our first ever live webinar just for you on April 3rd that is going to break down how to create a real estate brand that converts.
You know those relationships you have on Instagram where you feel like you're really good friends, but you don't really actually know that person at all because you've never met in real life? We're going to break down all the steps to turn that online relationship into an in real life relationship that converts and actually gets you a paycheck.
Head to busbenchbabes.com/convert today to sign up for this free live webinar on April 3rd.
Grab your seat. We cannot wait to meet all of you. And again, head to busbenchbabes.com/convert.
See you there.
Have you heard about the NAR lawsuit? Are you panicking? Is it freaking you out? Now's not the time to panic and freak out. Let's have 3 actionable items on this episode today that you can keep the calm, really go hard on your business, and really thrive despite anything that's happening in the market. Let's dive in.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in.
Good morning, Beth. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, friend?
Well, coffee took a little long to get this morning, so that was a bit challenging. My coffee maker's broken for the second time, so I'm having a little bit of an issue. And also this week requires coffee, wouldn't you say?
This week, yeah. So before Chrissy and I got on this call, when we were just actually having a phone conversation, we were both like, it feels like we've done like a month's worth of work. And literally, we're on Thursday morning. In like 3 days this week, it feels like we have both jammed in like a month's worth of work.
Yes. And then real estate, obviously, your working weekends, in general.
Every single
weekends, mostly, my weeks are bananas and my weekends are this week. So I just feel like I've just been going. So I launched my brand. If you haven't yet, if you're not following me on social, I'd love for you to check me out, Chrissy Clinton, on Instagram.
So pretty.
Thank you. Allison Burns of Allie Marie Design created it months ago, and I just finally launched my new site. So that's really exciting. Plus, webinars coming up amongst all other things. And we're busy. Like, it's busy.
It's great. Like, I was looking at the numbers. I had Carrie pull all the numbers of closed, pending, active transactions right now. And so far, this is the best Q1 I've ever had personally in my business, ever in the history of real estate.
Why did you guys not share this with me like immediately? Because of this week? It's because this week is just nuts.
Because this week's I don't know. I just was like, Carrie, I'm like, I need to pull the numbers. I'm like, look at all the numbers. And she left a Post-it on my desk. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I set a really high goal for this year. And if we can do this goal, it's going to be fantastic. But based on the numbers we're already at.
When?
What? Yeah. I mean, we're golden.
Yeah.
So now we just have to, I'm seeing that I need to do a little bit of a pivot. And it's something that has been in the back of my mind, is that just really kind of putting it out into the universe for some higher price points, some more consistent higher price points, because then you get to the goal faster. Mm-hmm. And so I am just like putting that out in the universe that there'll be some more like higher ticket listings. And I really, I obviously have a passion for first time buyers. I have a passion for move up buyers. I have a passion for all the buyers, let's be honest, and all the sellers. And I love, the downsizers. But like working with those seasoned clients that have bought and sold several times and really like value my expertise, is an arena that I'm fully stepping into that this year.
I love
I'm
that.
fully stepping into it,
I,
and
I
I'm owning
feel
that
like
space.
the aura is like shift, like the team, like the aura is
Yeah,
like shifting. It feels good. And
it feels so
oh,
good. Yeah, I'm
yay,
loving it.
I'm so
I'm loving it.
excited.
But yeah, I
This,
was telling you, like, I wanted to get a coffee this morning. I'm like, okay, it's 10 minutes to Starbucks, 10 minutes back. Then you got to wait in line. I'm like, I simply don't have time for it. And I'm a decaf coffee drinker, so it's not like I need the caffeine, but I love the coffee experience. So I have water.
and I have coffee because this is out of survival at this point. Hey, shit's getting done. We're making it happen. But that's not what this podcast is about. This podcast is
No.
about the NAR lawsuit, which you have all been hearing about.
Yep.
I mean, constantly, right?
Yeah, unless you're living under a rock, you have absolutely heard about the NAR lawsuit. And we aren't going to break down the lawsuit. There's a million other people doing that. I'm going to stay in my own lane on that because none of it's been settled yet. It's like these are all just sort of like proposals at this point. So like we aren't going to break that down, but what we are going to talk about is like what can we do? Things are going to change. Christy's phone keeps on dinging
My,
because she launched
during
her
the
brand
podcast,
yesterday, and now everybody's getting on social media this morning. They're seeing her new brand and they're like, "Oh my god!" And they're
I
reaching
know.
out
So,
to her.
and we're like newer to recording videos. So this is going on the video, which is fantastic. You see my face scrunching
It's
up.
so funny where your face is like,
I can't get this to turn off. And
yeah,
anyway,
whatever.
I'm
This
just
is
gonna go with it.
hashtag real life.
Be some dings in here. And no, it's not your phone, it's mine, everyone. If you're like frantically looking around, that's my phone.
It's all good.
All
It's all
good.
good.
All right, back to
We're
NAR.
going to just talk about like what can you be doing in your business? Because I think what happens when kind of like big, huge, I mean, this will change the landscape of real estate, but then a lot of people are just going into panic mode. And I don't think that that is the best way to operate your business. So a lot of times you get stuck in that panic mode and then you're just spinning when you should be out serving clients and you should be out creating calm for your clients. And if you aren't doing that, they're going to go find calm and they're going to find someone who's doing a better job than you are. And we don't want that for you.
No, I mean, that's really anything in life. If you jump into that panic or like that frantic space and you just like you instantly shift your perspective and it's not good. It's not good. So this isn't the end all by any means.
Gosh, no.
It is just part of what's happening. And how can we actually use this to like move our businesses forward?
Yeah, I think that if you shift your perspective on actually what's happening, I think I think agents will realize that this is going to up level our industry and it's going to make us less used car salesy. And we need that in our industry. A lot of people don't value what we bring to the table. And there's plenty of agents that probably shouldn't be in the business because they haven't really mastered the craft. But for all of us seasoned agents that really are truly taking care of clients day in and day out, this is an opportunity now for us to shine. Like this is our moment. Like hallelujah. We've been waiting for this. I've said it for years. Like it should be more than 90 hours of education to get into this business. You maybe should have to have a college degree to get into this industry. And maybe this will be the start of stuff that changes things. But who knows how that's all going to shake out. But let's just kind of talk about like what we can be doing today. An interesting thing that came up this week is that I feel really blessed to have like done the research to have found the right group at EXP to align with when I moved my license from Keller to EXP. And when I did my research, and we aren't plugging EXP here today, but I'm just going to talk about my experience for a hot second at EXP is when I knew I was going to make the change, everyone said who you align yourself with at EXP will make or break your success. And I'm finding that is so true. So my upline, my legacy line here that I'm with at EXP, they sent out emails immediately over the weekend and said, we are doing a mastermind on Monday. We have a Zoom. We only can hold 1,000 people. And then I think they pivoted and then they put it on to like a Facebook Live or something. There was over 4,000 people on that call on Monday. And then our EXP legal team did another like mastermind thing earlier in the day on Monday. So literally all this news about NAR came out Friday morning. Monday morning, I was on 2 masterminds. The first one had 11,000 people in it. The second one had 4,000. And so they're going hard.
Yeah.
And people are like, okay, I want to know what's going on. I want to know how to be able to like have an educated conversation about this. And I want to know how this is going to impact my business, how it's going to impact my clients. And we're going hard on it. But it was interesting to hear that a lot of like the big brick and mortar real estate companies around the country haven't even had any conversations with their agents about it yet. And I feel like that's a really big a difference.
I would imagine if you're sitting listening to this podcast and that's your experience with this, you're just really, where are you getting your information? Like on social media from like a reel, right? So you probably, this is an assumption, but are you feeling alone or like you're on an island sort of thing? So that would be, and with something like this big of an announcement, that's a problem. That's a really big problem. So I feel for agents in that like that position right now. If you don't have that circle. And I love so much about that when you did come, like you just mentioned, when you came over to EXP and who you aligned yourself with, like that is something that we have seen firsthand. Many agents, not just with EXP, but any other brokerage that will join and you're not quite the right fit, right? You're not quite the right fit. You don't put yourself around the people that matter. And then when you do it at EXP, like that becomes a bigger problem because you don't have that community to support you. So we've seen that firsthand. So that decision right off the bat was awesome. And when it comes to big announcements like this, which, I mean, is this even an announcement? Like this is so much bigger than just announcement. It's business changing, right?
Exactly.
Business changing. You need your people. So we're here for you. Just know that we're here for you.
Yeah. I feel like this feels a little bit like March of 2020. When all of a sudden, like the stay in place orders started coming out around the country and agents are like, whoa, what does this mean? I don't know. I'm feeling uncertainty. This is, then all of a sudden it started feeling like 07, 08 when the market started crashing because buyers and sellers were like kind of putting the brakes on and going, no. I don't know what's going on. I'm feeling uncertainty. So we're not going to do anything. And same thing, like March of 2020, I was sitting holed up in my house on Zooms of an 8-hour day. I was on Zooms probably 5 hours a day. Like, what can I learn? How can I educate myself? How can I keep my business on track? How can I give my clients certainty? And now I feel like it's a different subject, but this is kind of the same thing where a lot of agents are feeling massive panic right now. And our team's feeling calm. I'm feeling calm as can be. This isn't riling me up one bit.
Yeah, it's wonderful. The conversation we had when I was in the office just a couple of days ago was, how are you feeling about this? And it was the energy, like, we're good. Like, we're good. We know we're fine. And we're gonna figure this out and work through it. Thankfully, how we've set up the business thus far is for like something to happen like this, we're most likely going to be fine. Right. So the question that I think we can start with here that maybe sit down and ask yourself is, are you already positioned to be an expert and thrive in this market? Right. Starting there, like, how have you positioned yourself in this market? And if you're like, I have no idea or not very well, like that is something that you need to sit with and really start to figure out.
Yeah. There were 100,000 agents that turned their licenses in last year. And not because any landslide things like this came out. It was just simply because we had a down market last year. So now if this, who knows how this is all going to come to be and shake out. Supposedly changes are going to go into effect in July. We have a hot second before then. But is this going to run more agents out of the business because they simply just don't know how to pivot their business? They don't know how to adapt. They don't know how to change. They don't know how to stay calm in the storm. I don't want to see that for agents. No. I honestly don't. It sucks. No. It's like if you are like, yes, I always want to sell real estate. This is my livelihood. This is how I'm putting food on the table. And then now what are you going to go do? It's no.
Well, I do have an answer to now what are you going to go do, Beth?
What is that?
You're going to create a brand that converts, really.
Yeah.
So like this has shown us more really than anything in recent years that you need a brand in order to like function in this market, in this industry. You need a brand, and you need to give your clients a reason to give you a paycheck.
Yes.
Give them a reason to want to pay you, right? A desire to do that. So how do we do that? We do that through executing a brand that makes sense.
Yeah. You have to position yourself as the expert. You have to be able to really articulate your value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Now more than ever, you're going to walk into an appointment and you're going to get asked. It doesn't matter if it's a buyer or seller. This is really on top of mind for a lot of people, because if anyone's paying attention to the news, they've heard this and they're like, well, tell me more about this. And you need to be able to be like, this is what it is. This is what we anticipate is going to happen. Here's how I'm going to continue to serve you, my awesome clients.
Mm-hmm.
And clients want to know that you know what the hell you're doing and how you are going to get their home sold. Either get them into a house if they want to buy a house, or get their house sold.
Yes.
That's still what they're concerned about at the end of the day. Like, is all this noise out here, is this going to affect me being able to buy or sell a house?
Mm-hmm.
And how is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect my bottom line? And what do they need to know? Like, truly.
Yeah. You're the expert, right? Yeah. So help educate your clients. They're just about as clueless as we, you are in the beginning of learning about this, right? So they have no idea, and they're not on these Zoom calls. They're not educating themselves. They're reading headlines. So how do you show up for them? Help them feel calm as well. And just like, we're good. Everything's going to move forward. Like, this is going to be fine. This is just now something that we navigate in addition to everything else that we did.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
The great thing is that if you're in Minnesota is one of, I believe, 14 states in the country that's already had a buyer representation contract in place outside of agency. I mean, everybody knows they have to do agency. But if you've been operating in Minnesota, your brokerage should have already been requiring you to have buyer representation contracts, which clearly spell out how you get paid. And so if you're in Minnesota, you should not be freaking out at all. We are already doing this. We have already been a state that has been really great with disclosure. If you're in other parts of the country, I can't speak to what your laws are, but it's a great way to level up. One of the masterminds, I'm like, well, yeah, this totally makes sense. When they said it, they said, a lot of agents really give more attention or more creed to a listing contract. They're like, well, I've got a listing and I'm going to get to work. Well, why aren't you doing the same damn thing for your buyers? You have a new buyer. Let's get to work. Get them under freaking contract before you get out and start showing them houses and unlocking doors. You're not just a door opener. Like, you are so much more than that. But I think a lot of times, when someone calls into Zillow and you get an online lead, you just are kind of treated like a door opener. But now you're going to have a contract. Even to be a door opener, you're going to have a contract in place. So you're going to have to go talk to your broker about that. But I love that Minnesota has really been on the forefront of this for a long time. And it's really, I don't feel like I think the conversation obviously needs to be deepened, but the way that I do business and my contracts, like, none of that's changing. I'm already doing this. I'm already doing this.
Yeah. So don't panic.
Don't panic.
Don't panic.
Don't panic. Are we getting to our top 3 list, or are we already just going
let's
through
do it. Let's break down 3 things here. Okay. So basically, if you're like, okay, maybe you're feeling a little more calm now, hopefully, if you were panicking, or maybe you just wanted a little more education is why you hopped on this podcast. But like, what are 3 things you can do today that are going to like help you navigate this, right?
Be like,
yeah. I mean, go meditate and go for a walk, but that's obviously, maybe lay off the coffee. I'm having 2 a day. So, I mean, I can't help you there. That's going to cut down this weekend, but it's how I survived this week. So, number 1, stay calm, right?
Yes.
Educate yourself.
Yeah.
And educate yourself, just like we're doing. Like, you're on this podcast right now. This is what you're doing. Like, continue to educate yourself. And something that we've talked about, Beth, so much on this podcast for different things and how it relates to life is removing yourself from conversations that are going to stick you in that doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh, you're so fucked now because of this kind of thing. Just get out of those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to help you at all. Like, just walk away. Walk away. Join conversations, events, in-person things where agents are talking about how this shift is going to actually make your business stronger and what they're doing to do that, like what they're implementing to do that. So just remove yourself from all of that. Blah. This is the end. You're going to sell less houses. If you keep telling yourself that, guess what? You are going to sell less houses.
Yeah.
Or you can just rock and go forward.
I think it just goes back to like scarcity versus abundance.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that all of this is really going to affect your paycheck, it probably will.
Mm-hmm.
It probably will. But if you think that, yeah, there's still plenty of business to go around, there's plenty of buyers and sellers that still want to buy and sell, and you're still coming from a place of abundance, like abundance in that you are going to be creating more education. Maybe this is the time that you're like, okay, great. I've been talking about getting all this stuff in place for myself and my business. Maybe now is the time where this is going to be the kick in the pants that you need to really show that you're the expert, but you just got to stay calm.
Yes. Stay calm. So that leads us into number 2, which is get to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Christy's favorite one. Start working on your brand. Brand. We're going to say it till we're blue in the face. And this is really the whole jam. This is the whole point that this podcast even started, was like, how can you create a brand that converts? How can you create a brand that feels authentically like you, where you come from a place of authenticity and you're also being like the resource expert? Mm-hmm. Now more than ever, this is what your clients are going to be needing.
Yeah, like make sure you can clearly articulate a value proposition. Your value should be known before you get to the kitchen table.
Yep.
That's it. Like this reminds me of weddings, like the wedding business, where if a client is coming over to my house, like I should say a little caveat here. I used to shoot weddings like years and years ago. I had a wedding business. So if you're newer to the podcast, that might have come out of left field. So this reminds me so much of that, because when you would sit down when I would sit down with a client, I was like 9.89% certain they were going to sign with me before they walk through the door. And that's not just like a cocky thing to say. It was like, I already served in a way and had everything, for my business and brand going, that if they were actually going to come meet with me face to face, they were signing. Mm-hmm. So like, I knew my value already before they would meet with me. That's what you need. That's not this whole, oh my gosh, I hope that they let me list their house. There's all like, no, like you own your space. You know what you're doing. You've served them already. So then once you show up, it's a piece of cake. It's just a formality.
Yep. Okay. So refer back to a couple of old episodes that if you haven't checked these out already, you're going to be able to get a lot of awesome resources. So building a real estate brand, we had parts 1 and 2. Those were episodes 62 and 63, packed with incredible information. And then importance of understanding your brand identity. That one was also an awesome episode. And that one was number 128.
Yes. Check those out if you're just stuck with like, I need some help here. Or you need to just like fine tune things. Like all 3 of those episodes are a great resource to do that. Yeah.
And then third on the list is have an elevator pitch. Mm. And that sounds really salesy and cheesy, and it's not intended to sound like that. But here's an example. Friday morning, this lawsuit stuff came out. Saturday morning, first thing, I was at the car dealership getting my car back from getting serviced. And my service guy said, "Oh, you're in real estate. Let me, can I pick your brain a little bit about this whole lawsuit thing? Like, what do you think?" And he's like, "Oh, it's all doom and gloom, sky's falling." And I'm like, actually, I don't think that's what's really going to happen here. And I kind of gave him a couple of things that I, kind of like my personal opinion. And he's like, "Oh, wow. I mean, that's stuff I hadn't thought about." So the consumer, they're only reading the headlines. They're looking at little soundbite clips on the newspaper and the news. And it's always like clickbait to get people to really like get a hook on the article. It's never what's actually happening. It's like one smidgen of what's happening. And so it was fun to just have that conversation with him, because I had, done enough research in that 24-hour period. So you're going to get this conversation wherever you go. It might be at the car dealership. It might be at church. It might be at play group. You don't know where this conversation is going to come up. But again, it's going to position you as an expert. If you can stay calm, you can have an intelligent conversation. You might not know all the talking points of the lawsuit because obviously we're not attorneys, but you can be calm and you can present a conversation that is going to keep the consumer from being like, oh my God, the sky's falling. We were going to talk, we were going to sell our house and now there's no way we're going to do it, or we were going to buy and now we're not going to do that. People are still going to buy and sell houses. It's just going to be done differently.
And when you think of that too, Beth, just to sort of take on a little bit more there is when you like have that ready, like make sure that you are prepped for that, right? So like instead of going and fearing someone is going to ask the questions, like what if they ask me this? What if they want this? Like what if they want to, just know that they're going to ask. Just be prepared. And then you can walk in confidently and you don't have to like have that fear attached to it. The conversation's going to happen. Cool.
Yeah.
You're ready for it.
Yeah. You need one elevator pitch.
Yeah.
I think so many real estate agents think they have to know everything. You don't have to know everything. How would we know everything? This lawsuit isn't even settled yet. We're not going to know everything. But just to have a couple of sentences just sort of in the back of your head. So when someone asks you a question or like, what do you think about that? You can just have a 2 or 3 sentence thing that really shows that you're calm. You're not worried about it. The sky is not falling. And people are like, oh yeah, wow, I really liked her take on that. And then you just instantly made yourself look like an expert. Because you are.
Yeah. Mic drop. Okay.
Okay. But you know what's even better about this conversation that we're having today with being building a brand is that on April 3rd, we are doing our first webinar. We're doing a free live webinar with Christy and I on Wednesday, April 3rd.
2 days away from when, if you're listening to this on the day that this episode.
Oh, yeah. So this episode's coming out on Monday the 1st. So it's on Wednesday the 3rd. And you have 2 opportunities, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And it's a free webinar and it's all about building a brand that converts.
Yes. So, we're so excited. It's our first webinar and we're going to break down the strategy that we have used to successfully execute a brand that converts, pays us, woohoo, which is what we all want, right?
Right.
So head to busbenchbabes.com/convert to grab your seat.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
All right.
And we've been talking about this for years. Everyone's been asking. So we've been like behind the scenes working like little busy beavers, like getting this webinar all ready to go. And just kind of the timing of all this lawsuit stuff couldn't be more appropriate. We were already doing all the webinar long before this lawsuit stuff came up. So it all just kind of works hand in hand, but it's going to be, it's a webinar you're not going to want to miss, like an hour-long webinar, and you'll have actionable items to take away that you can implement in your business that day.
Yeah. We can't wait to see you there. So go grab your seat, busbenchbabes.com/convert.
Yay.
All right. Well, let's take it out, Beth.
Well, until next time, Busbench Babes. Oh, yeah. Okay, you start.
Blooper. All right, Busbench Babes. Remember, until next time, to keep your face off a bus bench.
And keep being the badass boss babes that you are.
Okay, girls, are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.